With today's DXtra Quick Tip, I'm Lloyd Van Horn from DX Central, and today we're talking about a very handy resource that AMDXers around the world use to help them identify stations they're hearing on the AM bands, and that is MWList.org. And so this is actually, there's a couple of different areas that you can find here in MWList. There's the main site here that you can see, and I can create myself a login, which we'll get to that here in a few moments, and what happens when you do that. It's also very popular for their actual station lists, and that's what we're going to really talk about, is these station lists, where I can go in, I can say, you know, let me look on 570, I'm in North America, I'm listening, who could I potentially be hearing? This can help you narrow it down, especially for non-domestic stations outside of the United States. If you're a US DXer and you want to be able to identify some non-US stations that you may be hearing on a particular frequency, this can really help you with that. You'll notice there are links here for many stations for live audio, so you can listen to their live audio stream. They'll also include information here for you on their transmitting power. If there are like these Cubans, you'll see if they parallel in other frequencies, you'll see that information and so forth. And on a lot of these where they have kind of the highlight here, I can actually click on that name here, for instance with KLAC 570 Sports, and it actually takes me to their website. So I can listen to the stream that way or get more information about the station that way. So really, really helpful information that I can use to my advantage. And that's all great and good, but what if you're DXing somewhere where you do not have an internet connection? That's not going to be as much help for you, right? Well, we actually have a way that we can get around that as well. So let me actually show you today my next tip. So the first thing you're going to want to do is go to MWList and create a login account for yourself. Once you do that, you'll come to a screen that looks kind of like this. Click on the downloads link, okay? And then click on this button here that says continue to get your PWF file from MWList. Then select your listening country of origin. I am in the United States here, so I'm going to choose USA. If I can get my computer, there we go, to scroll down. And now it's going to give me an option to place a marker on a map so I can set my location. Now I'm in Charleston, South Carolina, so I'm just going to very loosely and casually put Charleston here as my marker. But you can see, you can zoom in very, very tight, very, very close, and you can get a very accurate positioning on your marker if you wanted to. I'm just going to put it here in the Battery White Point Gardens right here. Let's just use that as my example location. But you can see I can get very, very specific down to the street level, my exact address if I wanted to. Okay, then if I scroll down here to the bottom, I have a couple of options. I can choose what geographic region I want. I'm just going to start with North America for right now. Now you can keep it in kilometers by leaving this box unchecked. But if you are, like me, stuck in a place that is still non-metric, you can click on this button to show distances in miles instead of kilometers. We're going to show you in a second what we mean by that. So I'm going to click on Get PDF. And what this is doing is actually creating an export of all this information that we saw here for North America. I'm starting with North America. All the different frequencies, all the station information that's available, it's creating an export for me of all of that data to have on a PDF. So I'm going to be planning a trip here pretty soon to the Outer Banks of North Carolina for a little DXpedition for myself. And so I'm going to want to be able to have access to this information whether I have an internet connection or not. So if I click and open my PDF now, you'll see I have all the station information here. And not only does it have for me the call letters, the frequency, the transmitter site, the power, and some of the different marks and things like that, but you're also going to see the distance in either miles or kilometers, whichever you chose, and the bearing degree from your location that you set. So when I set that right there in downtown Charleston, from that exact location, this tells me that CBT in Grand Falls, Newfoundland is 41 degrees from that spot. So that's, again, really going to be helpful for me when I'm going to do this little mini DXpedition to the Outer Banks. I can create one of these PDFs from that location that I'm going to be at, right? And I can then look through here and find some of the stations that I'm going to be targeting for, you know, Canada here. I want to get into those maritime provinces, or if I want to go over into Europe, and do some of the Europe and Africans and the Asians and the Pacific, South America, whatever region I'm chasing, I can set my location. It'll give me bearing and distance information from my location to each station on each frequency, and it puts it in PDF format, so I don't have to have an internet connection to look at this. I can just keep that on my laptop or whatever computer I'm using, call it up whenever I want to, and there it is, on the fly, on the go, and helpful for me. Now, is this information accurate? It's pretty accurate. I've found some inconsistencies over the years, some missing stations that went silent and came back on, things like that. But they do a pretty good job of keeping this information updated as much as they possibly can. So this is a great site to be able to do that with. Another good site that you can use for this same kind of information, really if you're looking for this for US-based stations, is Mesa Mike's, and I'm going to put a link to both MWList and Mesa Mike in the description for this video. And you can do the same thing here. You can put in your lat and long, and then you can do from there, it'll give you your distance and bearing for each of these stations from your location, and then you can export this out into a delimited text file so that you can load that into whatever you need to from there. So give you the same kind of information. So if you're looking for US only stations, this is a great option that you can look at. If you are looking for stations that are outside of the US as well, then MWList is what you're going to want to use, because you can do that PDF and you can get your distance and bearings from your location down to your exact address very accurately. So hopefully this information has been helpful for you. As always, give us a thumbs up if you think so. Don't forget to click on subscribe and the bell icon. That way you can be notified if new videos come available. From all of us here at DX Central, thank you so much for tuning in. 73 and best of DX.